Just now, a major decision has moved forward in Washington, and it could directly affect millions of Americans who rely on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, and VA benefits to cover their daily needs. Congress has approved a new bill focused on strengthening financial support programs, improving payment structures, and protecting long-term benefits for eligible recipients. For seniors, retirees, disabled individuals, and veterans who depend on these monthly deposits, this development is being closely watched because it signals potential changes not only in how benefits are delivered, but also in how financial stability may be protected in the years ahead. This update arrives at a time when many households are still adjusting to higher living costs. Groceries, housing expenses, utilities, prescription medications, and insurance premiums have continued to stretch fixed incomes. For people who rely heavily on federal benefits, even a small shift in policy can create a ripple effect across their entire monthly budget. That is why the approval of this bill has drawn immediate attention from financial experts, retirement planners, and advocacy groups that represent seniors and disabled Americans. At its core, the legislation focuses on reinforcing benefit programs rather than replacing them. Lawmakers have repeatedly emphasized the importance of protecting earned benefits while modernizing the systems that deliver them. The bill reflects months of negotiations, budget discussions, and policy revisions designed to respond to economic pressures that many beneficiaries have been experiencing. One of the central goals behind this measure is stability. For years, beneficiaries have worried about the long-term strength of Social Security and related programs. Headlines often highlight funding concerns, demographic shifts, and the growing number of retirees entering the system. This bill is being presented as part of a broader effort to reassure Americans that these programs remain a national priority. Another major focus is payment reliability. Late deposits, administrative backlogs, and outdated processing methods have sometimes caused stress for recipients who depend on precise payment timing. Even a short delay can disrupt bill payments, medication purchases, or rent schedules. Lawmakers have indicated that improving operational efficiency was a key motivation behind several provisions included in the bill. The legislation also acknowledges the changing financial reality facing older Americans. Retirement today looks very different from what it did decades ago. Many seniors are living longer, which means savings must stretch further. Healthcare costs tend to rise with age, and unexpected medical needs can quickly drain resources. For disabled Americans, the challenge can be even greater, especially for those unable to supplement their income through employment. Veterans, too, remain a central part of this conversation. Many rely on VA benefits not only as compensation for service-related conditions, but also as a foundation for financial security. Policymakers have increasingly recognized that supporting veterans means ensuring that benefit programs evolve alongside economic conditions. While the approval of the bill does not instantly change every payment amount, it sets the stage for adjustments that could gradually strengthen financial protections. Analysts often describe legislation like this as structural, meaning its full impact unfolds over time rather than overnight. For many recipients, the most immediate feeling following such announcements is cautious relief. Stability matters more than dramatic increases for households built around predictable income. Knowing that policymakers are actively working to safeguard these programs can reduce uncertainty, especially for those who have limited financial flexibility. The bill also reflects a growing awareness in Congress that benefit programs are not just line items in a federal budget. They are lifelines. Behind every deposit is a person paying for groceries, keeping the lights on, managing medical treatments, or helping support a spouse. Over the past several years, lawmakers have heard consistent feedback from constituents about the importance of maintaining purchasing power. Inflation may fluctuate, but the memory of sharp price increases remains fresh for many Americans. When everyday essentials become more expensive, fixed benefits can feel smaller even if the numerical amount stays the same. Because of this, policymakers have been exploring ways to make programs more responsive to economic shifts. Although cost of living adjustments already exist, some officials believe additional safeguards are necessary to prevent beneficiaries from falling behind during periods of rapid inflation. The newly approved measure signals that these concerns are being taken seriously. It does not promise instant wealth or sudden financial transformation. Instead, it aims to create a steadier foundation, something many retirees value more than short-term boosts. Another important element discussed during the legislative process was accessibility. Navigating benefit systems can sometimes feel complicated, especially for older adults who may not be comfortable with digital platforms. Simplifying communication and reducing bureaucratic obstacles have become priorities in modern policy design. Lawmakers have increasingly recognized that clarity is a form of protection. When beneficiaries clearly understand their payments, eligibility status, and reporting requirements, they are less likely to encounter disruptions. The bill also touches on administrative modernization. Much of the infrastructure behind federal benefits was built decades ago. While it has served millions effectively, technology has advanced dramatically since then. Updating internal systems can help agencies process claims faster, detect errors earlier, and communicate more efficiently with recipients. For seniors who remember a time when nearly all financial matters were handled in person, the transition toward digital services can feel both convenient and overwhelming. Policymakers have stressed that modernization efforts should enhance access without excluding those who prefer traditional methods. Financial planners often remind retirees that predictability is one of the most valuable assets in later life. Markets may rise and fall, but guaranteed benefits provide a steady baseline. Strengthening that baseline is frequently viewed as a responsible long-term strategy. Another factor driving legislative momentum has been demographic change. Every day, more Americans reach retirement age. This shift increases the number of beneficiaries while simultaneously reshaping the workforce that funds these programs through payroll contributions. Balancing these realities requires careful planning. The approved bill represents one step in an ongoing process rather than a final solution. Advocates for disabled Americans have also welcomed the focus on program durability. For individuals living with disabilities, financial uncertainty can create additional emotional strain. Reliable support allows recipients to focus more on health and quality of life rather than constant financial worry. Similarly, veterans organizations have highlighted the importance of maintaining strong compensation systems. Service members who return home with lasting injuries often rely on these benefits as recognition of their sacrifices. As news of the bill spreads, many recipients are taking a moment to reflect on what stability truly means. It means knowing that next month's deposit is likely to arrive on schedule. It means having a framework that adapts when economic conditions change. It means feeling that the system is designed to endure. Economists sometimes describe benefit programs as automatic stabilizers because they help sustain consumer spending during uncertain times. When retirees continue purchasing essentials, local economies benefit as well. This broader economic perspective is another reason lawmakers often prioritize these programs even during difficult budget negotiations. Supporting beneficiaries is not only a social commitment but also an economic strategy. Despite the positive tone surrounding the approval, experts encourage recipients to view legislative developments with measured expectations. Major policy changes typically involve phased implementation, regulatory adjustments, and administrative preparation. Patience becomes part of the process. Still, the direction of policy can be just as important as immediate results. Many retirees recall periods when rumors created unnecessary anxiety about potential cuts. Announcements that emphasize protection rather than reduction can therefore carry emotional weight far beyond their technical details. Financial security is closely tied to peace of mind. When people feel secure, they are better able to plan, support family members, and maintain independence. Independence is often a central goal for older adults. Remaining in one's home, managing personal finances, and avoiding reliance on others are deeply valued milestones. Strong benefit programs contribute directly to that sense of autonomy. Another reason this legislation matters is the message it sends about national priorities. Budget debates can sometimes appear abstract, but decisions ultimately reflect what a society chooses to protect. By advancing a bill centered on benefits, Congress signals that supporting retirees, disabled individuals, and veterans remains a bipartisan concern, even amid broader political differences. Observers note that cooperation on such measures can be challenging, which makes each successful negotiation noteworthy. Reaching agreement often requires compromise, detailed analysis, and a shared understanding of long-term consequences. As agencies prepare for the next steps, beneficiaries are encouraged to stay attentive to official communications in the coming months. Clear information helps prevent confusion and ensures that recipients understand any adjustments affecting their benefits. In the meantime, the approval itself stands as an important milestone. It reinforces the idea that these programs are actively managed rather than left unchanged in a rapidly evolving economy. For many Americans, retirement is meant to be a chapter defined by dignity rather than financial strain. Policies that strengthen income security help move that vision closer to reality. The conversation around benefits will undoubtedly continue. Economic conditions shift, healthcare costs evolve, and demographic patterns change. Effective policy must adapt alongside these forces. Yet moments like this, when legislation advances with the explicit goal of reinforcement, remind recipients that their voices have been heard through years of public feedback and advocacy. The story of Social Security, SSI, SSDI, and VA benefits has always been one of adaptation. From their earliest forms to modern expansions, these programs have grown in response to national needs. This newly approved bill becomes part of that ongoing history, representing another effort to ensure that support systems remain strong for current and future generations. As Part 1 comes to a close, what stands out most is the emphasis on protection, modernization, and long-term stability. The approval does not mark the end of policy work, it marks the beginning of the next phase. For millions of Americans who depend on these benefits, the development offers a sense of direction at a time when financial certainty is more valuable than ever. As the impact of this newly approved bill continues to be discussed across the country, many beneficiaries are beginning to focus less on the headline itself and more on what it could mean for their everyday lives. When Congress moves forward with legislation tied to SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and VA benefits, the conversation quickly shifts from politics to practicality. People want to understand how secure their income will be, whether their purchasing power will hold steady, and if the system they depend on is prepared for the future. For countless households, these benefits are not supplemental income. They are the financial backbone that supports nearly every essential expense. Mortgage payments, rent, groceries, transportation, insurance, and healthcare costs are often planned around a fixed monthly deposit. That is why even the perception of stability can provide enormous emotional relief. One of the strongest themes surrounding this bill is long-term protection. Policymakers have repeatedly acknowledged that Americans who spent decades working, serving the country, or living with disabilities deserve a system that remains dependable. Retirement should not feel uncertain, and financial support should not feel temporary. Instead, the goal is continuity, ensuring that beneficiaries can rely on these programs not just today, but years from now. Another important element tied to this legislation is financial resilience. The economy moves in cycles. Periods of growth can be followed by slowdowns, and unexpected events can reshape financial realities almost overnight. Programs like SSI and SSDI often act as safeguards during these shifts, helping vulnerable populations maintain stability even when broader conditions become unpredictable. Today's approval becomes part of that larger narrative, a reminder that national priorities are not static, but continually shaped by changing needs. For individuals depending on these benefits right now, the message is grounded in steadiness. The framework supporting monthly income remains firmly in place, and efforts are underway to reinforce it for the future. Security does not always arrive with dramatic headlines. Sometimes it comes quietly, through legislation designed to prevent problems before they arise. And often that quiet protection is exactly what households need most. As we reach the close of this report, the central lesson is clear. Programs like SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and VA benefits exist because the nation recognizes a shared responsibility to support those who have contributed, those who have served, and those who face circumstances that limit their earning ability. The approval of this bill signals continued commitment to that responsibility. It points towards stability at a time when predictability carries tremendous value. For seniors planning their monthly budgets, for disabled Americans managing daily expenses, and for veterans building life beyond service, the reassurance of a strengthened system can make a meaningful difference. The road ahead will include further updates, administrative steps, and policy conversations. Yet the foundation remains focused on protection, reliability, and dignity. And perhaps that is the most important reminder to carry forward. These programs were created to provide security when it matters most, and efforts are continuing to ensure they remain strong. Staying informed, remaining attentive to official communications, and approaching financial planning with calm awareness will help beneficiaries navigate whatever adjustments come next. Because in the end, true financial support is about more than numbers deposited into an account. It is about independence, it is about peace of mind, it is about knowing that after a lifetime of work, service, or perseverance, there is a structure designed to stand beside you. That understanding alone can bring a quiet but powerful sense of confidence, the kind that allows people not just to manage their future, but to face it with greater assurance.